It's match number 32 and it comes from Pune, and that's what we thought, but it's now been moved to Mumbai. And the reason I say that because Delhi Capitals have, of course, some members in their squad who've tested positive for COVID. Now let's just bring you the update right now, because that game, like I said, was scheduled to happen at the MCA, but it's going to be happening at the Brabant. We can also give you further information that they're kind of keeping a close eye on Mitch Marsh, who of course tested positive, not to forget Patrick Farhad, and the 3 more members of that Delhi Capitals team. Right, you're watching this match preview with me, Abni Chegde, on cricket.com, and we have Graeme Smith to, of course, preview this one. Don't go anywhere. Yes, good afternoon, Smithy. How are you? And it's terrible news to, of course, start this preview with, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, and I think, obviously, this is going to be a challenge, considering what happened last year. But I think the world of cricket is a lot more sort of exposed to COVID right now. A lot of nations have moved away from sort of biosecure environments and bubbles, and it might be time to sort of start addressing that at the IPL to just have a method in place to deal with COVID positives, but to progress away from these things. Such a valuable tournament, though. You can understand why the organisers want to protect it as much as possible. So let's hope everyone tests negative before the game, and we can have another exciting contest.
Yeah, exciting it's going to be, because it's a North Indian derby. They're dubbing it back home here. Let's start with Punjab, who've been the inconsistent side of the IPL 2022 so far. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. How do they kind of go about by stitching 2 wins together?
Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to have a better chance. I think they're coming up against a Delhi team that, with all the stuff that's going on with COVID, they would have been, probably locked away from each other, training in small groups if they even have been allowed to train, stressed over whether the game would ever even happen, and that still will go through to the morning until they get their negative tests. So I don't think they're going to get a better chance to string another win together against a side that's had to deal with a little bit of off-field crises. Look, I mean, there's a lot of talent in that Punjab team. It's just about creating that consistency, as you say.
All right, let's talk about potential changes. Now, many people are thinking that maybe the Sri Lankan Rajapaksa could come back to break that right-handed clutter. Do you agree with that thought?
Yeah, Rajapaksa definitely is an option. I like that sort of idea of having another left-handed combo. I mean, I also think the Odean Smiths and that haven't really set the competition on fire. So, when you're looking at, we talk about it a lot now, getting into the stage of the competition, you don't want to be chopping and changing too much. You want your combinations in form and playing well as you go into crunch time. But with the inconsistencies that a Punjab have shown, and not all the players have put their hands up, that, they've got to start looking at their options and how they strengthen their team. And I like the option of Rajapaksa. I think, the other thing that is important to note is sort of how they can control that middle over period better.
Did they expect more of Johnny Bairstow? Because so far he's not been doing what was expected of him, Smithy.
He's a class player, and he needs to get going. I mean, I think that, Liam Livingstone has been incredible. He's been the sort of lone hand for them on a consistent level. And that's always a worry when you're captaining or coaching a team. You want a number of players in form and playing well that going into a game, if Livingston gets a good delivery, that there's enough around him to contribute and get to a decent total. And I think Anil Kumble and Agarwal will be nervous about that, and they'd want to change that. So when you look on paper at that top 4 of Dhawan, Agarwal, Bairstow and Livingston, I mean, that's a good top 4. You should be hoping that one of those players in every game is going to get you a big contribution.
And what about the bowlers? Because Nathan Ellis's name's doing the round. Do you think he can perhaps come in for Odean Smith to see how he kind of fits in?
Yeah, and they're going to have to balance between Rajapaksa and Nathan Ellis, and try and see which combination suits him. Do they want to bat slightly deeper and have the all-round option? Do they want to go for a slightly, more sort of out-and-out bowler? There's a lot of pressure on Rabada and Chahaya. I think that they can definitely start looking for more as it dries out of Liam Livingstone's leg spinners. But it does look like a combination that needs support. So they're going to have to decide who's looking better in the nets. What is the option? Are they happy with their batting? Do they want to go for a more out-and-out bowler in Nathan Ellis?
Okay, one more about Punjab before we tot it on to Delhi next. And I want to ask you about the leg spin of Rahul Chahar because it's about setting the tone in your very first over. And he did that in his first 3 games. When the last 3 he hasn't really done it. Another interesting fact here is that they've relied on him too much in that middle overs phase, you think, because he's the joint second highest wicket taker in the league.
He is, and you're starting to look at the teams that have been really successful. The twin combinations of spin has been a factor through those middle periods. I mean, we touched on, the Rajasthan Royals yesterday evening. That spin combination of theirs has been outstanding, and the teams that are showing success have those options through the middle period, just to take those wickets, control the game slightly more, that you protect yourself a little bit more at the death, and especially now that the game's been moved to Brabourne. I mean, hopefully the ground staff is ready there, but that wicket's been flat, the outfield's been fast, high scoring ground, and having options that can pick up wickets through those middle periods is of vital importance. And we saw that with Chahal last night. So if you're going to be successful there, you need some wicket takers.
Yeah, Rahul Chahar is certainly one of them, especially in that phase. Let's talk about Delhi next, because they've just won 1 game out of their last 4, and those wins as well have kind of been comprehensive from the opposition. What are they missing from the last couple of seasons where they've been really competitive, you feel?
I think one of the biggest things they're missing is, I think it took them a while to get their international player power going in the tournament. They've just got Mitch Marsh fit, now he's dealing with COVID. I mean, Warner seems to be going, but on the face of it, I think a couple of big things that they're missing from previous years is the firepower with the ball. I think Rabada and Nortje were outstanding in the last period for Delhi. Bowled in the death, bowled in the power play, picked up wickets. Really that firepower was important to him, and that's why I think they've made a mistake. I know Nortje was terrible in game 1, but it was expected. He hadn't played in 8 months. But if you give him a run, or giving Gidi a run, as the tournament goes on, there's a lot more firepower with the two of them than maybe a Fizz, who is probably pretty similar to what they've got. So I would have, if I was Pana, Ricky Ponting and the guys, I would have taken a little bit more of a punt early on in the competition and allow an Gidi or Nortje to really get into match fitness and form, because they need that impact player with the ball. Akshar Patel's been okay without being brilliant. Kuldeep Yadav has been outstanding so far, but not enough firepower around him. And I think that's an area that they're certainly missing from previous seasons.
Now, I mentioned Mitch Marsh, who was, of course, unfortunate to go down with COVID, but who comes in for him? Do you think a Tim Seifert, like for like in terms of that position, or the under-19 captain, Yashdul, who's not been given a chance yet?
Yeah, tough one. I mean, I would look to bolster the bowling power. I mean, you've got Rovman Powell, who probably play as the all-rounder. I would definitely look at that bowling setup. I mean, I've got the 11 as Prithvi Shaw, Warner, Pant, Safraz Khan, Pal, Yadav, and then Akshar Patel, Thakur, and then the bowlers. So I would look at that bowling thing, and especially in Brabourne, how can they pick up wickets through those 20 overs. We've seen that it's a high scoring ground, difficult to defend if you're not getting wickets. So that is an area that I would look at going into this game.
Good points you mentioned there, because you look at the last game against RCB, I think Mustafizur went for that massive over against Dinesh Karthik, so that would have probably taken a dent in his confidence. Let's of course ask you your predictions, but before that, it's Mr. Milestone. Graeme Smith, take it away with your question for today.
Today's Mr. Milestone is, who needs one more catch to reach the milestone of 50 IPL catches?
Right, I mean, relatively straightforward, but you guys can stand a chance to win a cricket.com hamper if you get that right. So the first subscriber, the first guy who comments, of course, will get the gift. Right, predictions. Let's see if there are any spot-on ones from Smithy again, because he normally gets it right. Delhi or Punjab, Graeme Smith?
I'm probably going to be the predictable one here, but I'm going to go with Punjab. I just think they've got a lot more confidence in their lineup. A few more victories under their belt, 6 points, on the board. And I think Delhi just, really a lot of uncertainty going into the game tomorrow, considering all the COVID pressures, uncertainty over their bowling lineup. So I'm going to give it to Punjab to get over the line. and hopefully it'll be another cracker like we saw last night.
Okay, you can catch it all on cricket.com. Thanks for watching this match preview between Delhi and Punjab. There's lots more content, so subscribe and press that bell icon so you guys get all the notifications you need. It's a goodbye from Graeme Smith and me, Avnish Hegde.